Obama may have stepped out of the White House, but did he really step away from influence? The real wealth, the true power, it never truly disappeared. And Elon Musk has now pulled back the curtain to show just how deep this connection runs. Tucker Carlson adjusts his tie, leans in, and looks directly at the camera. His face is serious, and his voice calm, yet heavy with anticipation. The tension in the studio is palpable, as if something major is about to come to light. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give a like if you're intrigued by what's coming next. Carlson continues, setting the stage for what's to come. Today, we're going to discuss something that's been hiding in plain view for years. It's so large, so ingrained in modern politics that most people don't even think to question it. But once you hear what we're about to reveal, it'll be impossible for you to ignore. He pauses for a moment, allowing the weight of the statement to sink in. We all know that former presidents write books, give speeches, and buy expensive houses. But what if I told you that one former president built something far beyond these simple luxuries? What if I told you that Obama used influence, global connections, and funds to build an empire that raises serious questions? Carlson looks over at his guest. And tonight we have Elon Musk here to shed light on this, he says. The camera shifts, and Musk appears, calm but sharp-eyed, knowing his words will turn heads. He takes a breath and leans forward slightly. Before we dive deeper, make sure you comment below and like this video if you want to see more revelations like this. Then Musk begins. Let me explain it this way, Tucker. Obama's post-presidency isn't just about making money from book deals and speeches. It's about a much bigger system. A system that allows former public servants to walk away with fortunes on par with Silicon Valley billionaires. The real question is, who's behind the funding, and what are they getting in return? Carlson listens, intrigued but cautious. So you're telling me it's more than just making money after leaving office? There's something deeper at play here? Musk nods, his expression serious. Yes, much more. People think former politicians retire, but that's not what really happens. They enter a new game, one where influence is the currency. Obama has mastered it. The real story here isn't just about his wealth, it's about how he acquired it, who helped him, and why they did it. Carlson leans back, processing Musk's words. The audience can feel the weight of what's being said. This conversation is heading in a direction that might challenge everything they thought they knew about power in the U.S. Musk isn't finished yet, though. Carlson watches intently, his expression thoughtful as he clasps his hands together on the desk. Elon, let's not sugarcoat it. We all know former presidents make money after leaving office. But you're saying Obama is different. You're saying there's an entire machine behind him. What exactly does that look like? Musk shifts in his chair, exhaling slightly, preparing for the next part. It's not just about money, Tucker. It's about influence, long-lasting global influence. Obama left office, and within just a few years, he became one of the most powerful private figures in the world. But here's the thing, no one is asking how. The math doesn't add up. Carlson raises an eyebrow, curious. What doesn't add up? Musk leans forward. Let's start with real estate. Obama bought a $12 million mansion in Martha's Vineyard. Then there's his D.C. estate, another multi-million-dollar property. A third home in Hawaii? These aren't just homes, Tucker. These are fortresses. And yet, the public was told these purchases were funded by book deals and speaking fees. As someone who runs multi-billion-dollar companies, even I know that doesn't add up. Carlson stays silent for a moment, processing the information. Musk continues, not missing a beat. Let's take a look at the numbers. Obama's memoir deal? $65 million. His speaking fees? Upwards of $400,000 per event. On the surface, that sounds like a lot of money. But when you factor in his lifestyle, his investments, his foundation, and his global partnerships, it becomes clear this isn't just a man living off book royalties. This is someone still playing the game at a level nobody's discussing. "They're just a facade," Musk said, his lips curling into a small smirk, though there was no humor in it. A diversion. The real wealth doesn't come from book deals or speaking engagements. It's coming from something far more significant: private transactions, international partnerships, and, most crucially, strategic alliances with some of the richest, most influential people across the globe. Carlson looks at Musk, skeptical. "And you have proof of this?" Musk nods, his expression serious. "I've seen the sign shell companies, offshore investments, but it's not just about the documents, it's about the relationships. Who he meets with, where he goes, which industries he suddenly develops an interest in. Tucker, this isn't just about Obama. It's about a whole system that lets former politicians cash in at levels that should be illegal. Once you see how deep this runs, you'll realize this isn't retirement, it's something else entirely. And hey, if you're enjoying this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and like the video for more." Carlson exhales slowly, his mind racing. He's witnessed a lot in his career, but something about this hits differently. Musk leans forward, his fingers tightly interlocked, his gaze sharp. The weight of his words hangs in the air. He knows there's more. "So you're telling me Obama isn't just making money? He's still active, still influencing things after his presidency?" Musk nods, tightening his expression. He pauses for a moment, glancing at the camera, as if weighing his next words carefully. "Let me put it to you this way. Obama never really left. He just shifted roles. Think about it, most former presidents fade into the background. They write their books, do some charity events, maybe launch a foundation. But Obama, he's different. He's still meeting with world leaders. He's still involved in shaping policy. And here's the key: he's still influencing industries connected to the very donors who backed his campaigns. And while you're here, make sure to leave a comment and like this video if you're following along with this deeper dive into power." Carlson exhales through his nose, shaking his head slightly in disbelief. "Give me an example," he asks. Musk doesn't hesitate. "Tech, green energy, media, 3 sectors where influence is more valuable than gold." Obama? He's connected to all of them. Look at who he's visiting, who he's partnering with, and who stands to gain from the policies he still subtly supports behind closed doors. Carlson's lips press together in a tight line. He can already see where this is headed. "Silicon Valley," he says, almost knowingly. Musk's face remains unreadable. "Bingo, Tucker. The same people who made billions from government contracts during his presidency are still funding him, still opening doors for him. It's a revolving door. And here's the part that should really make people question everything: Obama's influence hasn't diminished. It's expanded. Because now, with no official position, there are no limits, no transparency laws, no oversight, just unrestricted access." Musk spreads his arms wide, as if to emphasize his point. "Exactly. Once a president leaves office, their power doesn't vanish. It just gets repurposed. And Obama? He's been rebranded into something far more potent than anyone realizes." Carlson shakes his head, his mind spinning. "So, you're telling me all those speeches, the books, the foundation sits, all just for show? The real power is happening in boardrooms, private jets, and behind closed doors with billionaires?" Musk nods once, slow and deliberate. "That's where the real wealth is. It's not in royalties or guest lectures. It's in deals, influence, in industries that control information, energy, and global markets. And Obama? He's been playing that game better than anyone else." Carlson's expression turns grim, his focus narrowing. This isn't just about one man's wealth. It's about how the entire system functions. And you're about to take it even further. Carlson exhales sharply, glancing at his notes. This goes beyond just post-presidency wealth. This is something global, something much bigger. His eyes lock with Musk's sharper than before. You're telling me that Obama's influence didn't end when he left the White House? That he's still moving pieces on the board? But real power doesn't just come from billionaires in Silicon Valley. It comes from something even larger, something outside of the United States. Musk's jaw tightened slightly. Now you're getting it, Tucker. Follow the money, because once you do, you'll see a pattern. One that leads far beyond America. Obama isn't just making deals here, he's making them abroad. And the people funding this lifestyle, they're not just donors, Musk stated, his expression becoming more serious. They're global players, industry titans, foreign governments with a strong interest in U.S. policies. Carlson leaned forward, his voice steady but intense. Which governments? Musk didn't pause. China, parts of the Middle East, various European nations. It's not about speaking gigs, Tucker. It's about strategic alliances, think tanks, and foundations with unclear humanitarian missions that, coincidentally, align perfectly with the goals of foreign investors. Obama doesn't need to sit in the Oval Office anymore. He still shapes policy from the outside, while collecting huge paychecks from those wanting access to U.S. power structures. By the way, if you're finding this eye-opening, hit that like button and subscribe for more insights. Carlson's face changed, his intrigue giving way to something darker, closer to disgust. So, let me get this straight. While Americans struggle with inflation, rising costs, and job losses, a former president is out there making a fortune not just from U.S. corporations, but from foreign powers who still view him as a way to influence U.S. policies. Musk nodded, his tone calm but firm. That's exactly what I'm saying. And the reason this isn't discussed more often is because Obama's not alone in this. This is how the system functions. Presidents don't retire, Tucker. They graduate. And if you play your cards right, you don't just leave rich, you leave powerful. And, hey, don't forget to comment below if you're seeing this whole power dynamic in a new light. Carlson leaned back, his jaw tightening. This isn't just about one man's wealth anymore. This is about an entire system built to keep the public distracted while the real power shifts behind closed doors. He crossed his arms, a crease forming between his brows. Musk's words hung in the air like a heavy fog. Carlson stared at him, taking it all in. So, let's put this into perspective. Obama doesn't just walk away from the presidency with wealth. He walks away with the keys to power, still making moves, pulling strings, shaping policies and global markets. And the average American? They have no idea this is happening. Musk nodded slowly, his face impassive. Exactly, Tucker. That's the point. Politicians leave office, and people think they fade into history. But that's an illusion. They simply transition into a phase where there are fewer restrictions, and they operate without any real scrutiny. And the worst part? The very people who helped fund their rise to power, those same people, are still backing them, still benefiting. Carlson scoffed, shaking his head. And yet, we're told to believe in democracy. Your votes shape the future, that elections determine who holds power. Musk let out a dry chuckle, rubbing his chin as he considered his words. Elections change who's in front of the camera, Tucker, but the real power? It never changes, it just moves in the background. Think about Itho. Many former politicians, do you see, sitting on corporate boards, suddenly becoming advisors to billion-dollar companies. They're not being paid for their expertise, they're being paid for their connections, their influence. And Obama? He's the gold standard of this system. Carlson rubbed his face, exhaling sharply through his nose. His disgust was now palpable, not just for Obama, but for the entire system. So, what does this mean for the rest of us? What does it mean for the average person sitting at home watching this, realizing that the people they once trusted are still out there, making backroom deals, securing wealth for generations while the rest of the country struggles. Musk's expression hardened, his voice growing sharper. It means the system isn't broken, Tucker. It's functioning exactly how it was designed to. And if people don't start waking up to this, it's only going to get worse. Carlson exhaled, turning to look directly into the camera. He knew the audience was feeling it now, the quiet frustration, the realization that the game had been rigged long before they ever had a chance to play. Musk had one last piece of the puzzle to reveal. Carlson's grip tightened on his pen, tapping it lightly against the desk. He had always known corruption ran deep, but this was different. The scale, the precision, it was surgical. He shifted in his seat, his tone lowering slightly. So, let's take this to its logical conclusion. If what you're saying is true, if Obama has been operating behind the scenes like this, then the real question is, what is he doing now? What's the end game? Musk exhaled through his nose, tilting his head slightly. Tucker, you don't build an empire just to sit back and watch it grow. You build it to expand. And right now, Obama isn't just shaping policy. He's positioning himself as one of the most influential private figures on the planet, a gatekeeper. Carlson furrows his brow. A gatekeeper to what? Musk leans forward, his voice dropping to a purposeful tone. To the future of industries, media, and government itself. He's not just another former president, Tucker. He's an architect. And whether people realize it or not, the world they're living in now has been shaped by him, and that influence will only grow stronger. Carlson exhales slowly, watching Musk intently. His gaze never wavers. The weight of what was just said settles heavily in the room, like an unseen burden. So the American people, the ones who voted, who thought they were making a difference, they're just spectators? Musk's lips tighten into a thin line. Not spectators, Tucker. Consumers. Products. The people in power don't just control the system, they control the narratives that keep everyone in line. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. Carlson turns to look directly into the camera for the first time during the interview. There's no acting, no only raw emotion, something akin to frustration. After a moment of silence, he speaks. Carlson lets the silence linger not for effect, but because there's nothing more he can say that won't diminish the gravity of what was just revealed. He breathes out sharply, glances down at his notes, and then tosses them aside. None of it matters anymore, he states, his voice resolute yet burdened. If you're watching this right now, I want you to think about something. How many times have you been told that democracy works? That your vote matters? That politicians serve you? And how many times have you seen the exact opposite take place? He pauses, letting the question settle before continuing. We were taught to believe in a system that rewards honesty, punishes corruption, and gives power back to the people. But tonight, we've uncovered something else, something most people don't want to admit. Power doesn't disappear, it doesn't retire. It just moves. And when it does, it takes everything with it, your trust, your future, your choices. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about Obama. It's about a system that was never designed to serve you in the first place. Carlson turns to Musk, giving him the final word. Musk leans back, his expression unreadable. People need to wake up. Tucker, not just to Obama, but to everything. As long as the public keeps playing along, keeps believing the narrative, nothing changes. But the moment they start asking real questions, the moment they demand real answers, that's when things shift. That's when the game becomes dangerous. Carlson nods slowly, considering the weight of Musk's words. He looks back at the camera one last time. So ask yourself, are you paying attention, or are you just another pawn in a game you didn't even know existed? The screen cuts to black. If you found this conversation important, share it. Talk about it. Ask the questions no one else is asking. And most importantly, don't just listen, act.